Listen to that! Amazing, welcome back to the Blast Pro Series, Sao Paulo, Brazil! If that doesn't give you goosebumps, you're mad or you're dead. It's been an incredible day thus far, and we're about to have our grand final! We've got Astralis, we've got Team Liquid, our first map is Dust 2, are you ready? I've lost my voice, I can't stop cheering. Let's head over to our casters one more time. Make some noise! Take it away, casters. I'll have a glass of water. Oh, that was phenomenal.
Hot damn, Adam Savage committed to the cause, lost his voice in the process, and I can understand why. We've had ourselves one hell of a weekend of Counter-Strike, and it all culminates here in the oh-so-elusive but always satisfying Astralis versus Liquid Grand Finals.
I know, oh my God. Every time someone came back to the green room, they were hot, they were sweaty. This place has just been giving off energy. People just drinking Red Bull or Monster, whatever they drink, and then yelling at the top of their lungs at 100 decibels for hours on end, and just putting all of that sweat and energy out into the crowd, out into Adam, who's clearly lost his voice from screaming because he's so excited, and he's just in the moment. And he's leaving it all out there just like Liquid should today. The best part about this is that when we think about the major final and we try to theory strike what that veto could have been, we aren't sure if we would have seen Mirage, for example, or if we would have seen the veto that we see right now. We do know that because Astralis played so many Dust 2 matches today, or at this tournament, and Liquid have been one of the teams that have played them on Dust 2 as well, if that has impacted the veto in some way, and that's kind of interesting. I think there was a big chance that Liquid could have floated that Dust 2 pick, and then picked Mirage or something else, and then played Dust 2 as a decider, which Astralis would have been happy to take. But now it's just up front, a clear power move by Liquid.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to note, the three teams who actually have a positive round difference. Astralis is the lowest of the three. And I think that's testament to the fact that even though they did play a lot of Dust 2 this week, or weekend, excuse me, and they were tested thoroughly each and every time by all of the teams that they went up against.
Yeah.
And, okay, maybe you expect it from the likes of Liquid and ENCE, but did you anticipate that when they played FaZe just in round 5? They had secured the final spot, so yeah, you can put an asterisk next to it, but I just haven't been blown away by Astralis. It's been 5 wins, don't get me wrong, and the resiliency is beautiful, but it's also seems like the pieces are falling into place for the potential of an upset.
For sure, and there's just so much game tape. I mean, Liquid yesterday, if they just thought that they would make it to the finals, and they probably were planning for that as a team of their caliber, they're going to go back and watch the demos on all the Dust 2 matches, plan out their veto in advance, think about how they're going to change from that 16-14 to make sure it doesn't come close to that the next time around. They're going to be fully well prepared. And I wouldn't be surprised if Astralis knew that they had another Dust 2 coming their way, but it wouldn't make sense for them to ban it or something like that. So this could be a really strong collision course that it might be destiny for Liquid to try to best Astralis on a map that they have been strong on, but as a map that Liquid have also been very, very strong on and brought them to the ropes on many times. So if we're looking back here, Astralis against clean sweep, 5 games straight. Liquid have the 4-1. Technically, there's a tie there, and that is important to note. ENCE didn't lose the match; they did draw, but ultimately they knew it was at stake before the match went live, right? For ENCE, the win condition was getting to 16-14, and so that's just how the chips fall. Both teams fought their hardest. If you want to talk about deservedness, both teams should be in the final, and I honestly think they would put up an equal fight, like ENCE and Liquid in this situation, but no other team in this tournament would bring this match as close as Liquid or ENCE, even if those two are equal.
Right, because even if you want to put the caliber of ENCE and Liquid kind of on par with one another, one of those teams has defeated Astralis before.
Yeah.
And the other one fell, flat in a rather disappointing fashion.
Extremely flat. They definitely got stomped as well, and it looked like, okay, this was a great primer, this tournament. ENCE played so well, they could get to the final, they would be a better team. Certainly it wouldn't look like the major final, one would think, but Liquid's map pool is a bit better, and we know that they're very, very confident against Astralis, and they're the only team in the world to actually do it against them in a best-of-3 final in God knows how long. So we are going to get into the match, I think, now, and just get started on Dust 2, man. I couldn't be more excited to be able to cast this final. This should be a spectacular matchup, and it's great that it's on a map that we know so much about just from these recent demos. We're going to have a pause right off the bat just to make sure everything's all good. And it looks like the time has started ticking down. So hanging back for a second. We know all of the other win conditions, right? We know that Liquid, and as Chad mentioned, it's cliche, but all of Liquid players have to be playing in their best form. It was cool that Alige had kind of one of his best tournaments in recent times. It is interesting that Glaive has kind of struggled, but that's also strengthened the Astralis store in some respect. But if they're going up against Liquid, they do have to be their best self, bar none. I think that what's also interesting is the amount of long control that will be taken in this game, and the fact that if Glaive is not on point, he's going to be the pit player. And I originally thought it would be Magus, but he's going to be the pit player. He fails, 3 or 4 times and a half. That's like almost most of the rifle rounds, and maybe not now after the economy changes, but a huge amount of them. And that's going to turn the tides of the map just based on that alone.
When it came to those first few Dust 2 games as well on the Astralis side, we were looking at Magisk, we were looking at Device. That AWP was really doing a lot of damage through mid. I've never seen an AWP put out that amount of damage prior. Always picking up kills, but softening up targets. And then most recently, we had Zipex, coming into this as well. So Astralis, the depth, it's always there. And it's very, very rare that one of these players even falls off, let alone more than one.
Yeah.
So again, it's a repetitive cliche, but Liquid are going to have their hands full. And we've seen them be here before. We've seen them succeed. I think that coming off of the major, even coming into this event, Stewie in an interview said that he doesn't think it's going to take much longer for this team to kind of tap into their potential and get over that initial growing pain.
Sure.
So I think you're allowed to write off a tournament or two. In this case, they had rapid success early on with obviously iBuyPower, and then they had their hiccup. You take your hiccup, you come back, you bounce back, and here we have them again in a grand final.
There has not been a crack in the confidence of Liquid at any point, either publicly or even in results. I mean, they've always just been really good, and it was just the major final that just kind of fed into people's fears that this roster move that happened, that maybe shouldn't have happened, was gonna go wrong, right? Everybody kind of wants to be right about their prediction, and that kind of fed into it, but it was maybe unfounded. Everybody on Liquid seems super confident about this lineup. They've all said great things about the change. They feel like it's only going to get better for them, and as you mentioned, a matter of time before the results start rolling in. But no better time than now. I mean, all the pressure might be on them because everybody knows that Liquid have said these things publicly, but that's the kind of pressure that you're going to have to face over and over again if you want to be anywhere close to a consistent top 2 or rival to Astralis.
So let's go, folks. Without further ado, the very first map of the finals of Blast Sao Paulo has begun, and it's Glaive to hit the dirt first and foremost. Tries to go for a bit of a play through middle. He's met by a lot of Glocks, and therefore he's down. Device has an angle and a duel towards mid. We get that exact same thing from Dupree too, who did take some hits back the other way and falls off, just like Device will now.
Yeah, that was actually a clutch flash to push Device back onto the site. So much damage dealt to the CTs at the moment. Tunnel control is being taken over, and it looks like Liquid have something to do at B, potentially 4 at tunnels. 1 at mid is all you need. I don't know if there's going to be a smoke here for Nitro to cut off rotates, but it could be these 2 CTs getting crushed any moment now.
They're going to try to get their heads back in just before the T's come through, but sure enough, it is Magisk removed, and Dupree takes himself out of the situation. Falls back, wants nothing to do with Team Liquid on this B site. So it's done. There you have it. Liquid kick off their T side with a pistol round win.
Absolutely. You take that side over, I mean, you get 1 kill, it's fine. There's no way back in. It's pretty much over from there. So even though they only have USPs, barely anything to lose besides the half armor, they're going to go ahead and save. And Liquid will take away a first pistol round very confidently and very quickly, calling out Astralis' setup, abusing the fact that they went for aggressive options. Even when Device was kind of playfully peeking around on Cat as carefully as he possibly could. Him getting flashed off, taking 90 damage, pushing him back into the safe. All these things are really smart and not too elaborate, honestly. So very consistent, sustainable ways that we're seeing for them to be able to win these rounds. And there's even a hunt here to make sure that they can't save their half armor. First player goes down. Zipix and Dupree are able to get a kill apiece. Zipix is getting pushed out of position, but it's by a player who's also very hurt. So pistol round goes the way of Liquid. We move into round 2. We'll see what Astralis wants to do now with their recycled half armor, maybe upgraded guns.
See a scout thrown into the mix. 2 scouts, in fact. Double Deagle CZ. So, let's see if the P shooters can pop off. There's one for Nafly, too. It's that duel down mid. Yeah. Hits Magisk instantly. Some good start damage, but be careful, because there's 2 scouts versus his 1. And while he does tag up Device, there's a push elsewhere. Team Liquid taking that long control by storm. 4 players now joining each other as they do close this gap towards the A site. Stewie on the forefront with bomb, AK in hand, and a smoke to work around. But so many counter-terrorists already. That rotation straight from the B bomb site, they've evacuated it entirely. We're gonna get the ump firing off too. Nitro not able to hit his mark, so the counter-terrorists near, but they haven't done anything until now. Finally, Magisk is gonna pick up a kill, and it's immediately traded back with a double from Nitro. So Astralis, numbers disadvantage, but Glaive has a hell of an opening. Too bad the CZ costs him, and Twist gives good cover for the plant. 1 scout saved, and a second for Liquid.
And although they had their feet on the ground the entire round, it's very important they kept the majority alive. Keeping 4 is above and beyond, and Dupree gonna hang back with a scout. One more time, gonna have to recycle this, but a great round from Team Liquid. We know we're gonna see a potential of like a couple of styles of anti-ecos from Liquid. One of those is gonna be that long take that they'll probably use off of a spawn where the first player leads. And then usually it's the second player that will eat nades, especially if you've got the best T-spawn possible. And if the second player can hang back, first player can jump out to blue, and then once they get long control, can push up. And the only way that that really goes wrong is if long smokes take too long to come out, and they're out too wide, and they get tagged by the scouts. So it was a good buy from Astralis, I think, to respond to the anti-eco pressure from Liquid. But ultimately, Liquid wasted no time and consistently applied pressure while also moving forward, not giving those scouts any options whatsoever. So Liquid off to the quick 2-0 start, and the last time they played, this was also the same deal. They got these rounds, they even got the third, and now we'll finally get to see, we'll have to see another round where Astralis will recycle guns for whatever they're worth and attempt to get more kills, and it all does count for something. You cannot leave any stone unturned in a match like this. Every little bit of economy is going to come back towards the end of the rounds, and we'll always be talking about, oh, that one round where one guy lost the clutch. Well, that might have never happened if people were more careful about their economy early on.
Think versus Magisk. Good cover inside of the pit. Nitro with a teammate to try and clear him out, but Magisk's just going to go to town on Nafly. Deagle gets it done. Little upgrade as the ump swaps to the AK. Zipex looking to get his hands dirty. Instead, be shut down. Stewie left with mid-control. All the while, this fight's been happening on long A. Elige has got himself up catwalk, so Glaive blindsided, and the last man's Device towards mid. Another great round from Team Liquid, minimizing losses. Seems like they'll have 4 players up, and that is the case.
Yeah, look at the firepower. You know, it's like $20,000 that they're keeping in their hands, and then they get that round win bonus. So we're up to 3-0. It's been a clean affair so far. No stress for Team Liquid, and what looks like a very tantalizing B spawn. 4 players postured up, looking this way, ready to pounce. I don't know if they'll actually do it, if they'll turn it into a default, but there might be a chance here if somebody spots mid and it's open for the taking. So off to the races we go. 4 players ready to go to tunnels, and 1 going fast cat actually. We'll see if he clears a path.
Here we have it. Smoke is going to go down. Great grenade. Magisk softening them all up, and that just immediately turns them around.
Look at that.
Oh, Nitro's going to find the timing through middle because the mid players get drawn towards the B site due to the sheer numbers that were called. So Nitro has a great positioning. We'll have Twists and Naf double back through T-spawn, presumably towards long, and then Bomb is open to work its way towards Cat. Effectively just having Liquid lock Astralis inside of the B site.
Not only did this happen, but what went right under the nose of Astralis is that they performed this gamble and they let Liquid know because Nitro was there listening for the cross. So in Astralis' mind, yeah, they did this gamble, but Liquid don't know we did it, which is very important. So Liquid are going to clearly go ahead, go for A. They know there's only 2 people here. There's a high chance of success.
They're going to completely forfeit long A control, just playing with the catwalk, which is more than enough. But the real challenge will be Device. Posted up with the op, drops Nitro first, hits the second shot. I mean, closing the distance and getting that bomb in is one thing, but you need the numbers still up because it's an inevitable retake on the line. Stewie 2K clears Magisk on flank, and now Device's bullets no longer hit their mark. So bomb does cross towards plant. They just have to creep and crawl underneath his scope. A very real threat in Device. But Alicia's got it in.
Yeah, cross back just as carefully, but look how scared they are of Device, and as they should be. A fantastic headshot through the box to really lock this one up. Stewie will have to go absolutely 8 mode if they want to secure this.
Bomb's planted for him, but smoke grenade completely blocks vision. He could spam through. Ooh, just barely missing the mark, and Zipex won't miss his shot. So Astralis, thanks to Device, cut down the numbers enough to hold on to an advantage in the retake. They figure out where Stewie's off to. Even though they give up the bomb plant and the players are on site, they weren't ever able to get into an after plant comfortably. You know, Device and Zipex were close enough to keep them pinned in. So content situation for Astralis, never questioned on long A, but a beautiful initial B hit to condition Astralis into that site stack could have actually cost them.
For the beginning of the round, you know, the map control, everything was in their favor. They had the information. They knew it was just Device there on the corner, and they just didn't throw good enough flashes. There was, in fact, only one, and that was an after image flash where he recovered within half a second, and the first player who crossed couldn't even bait a shot. So only the last one was able to bait out 2, which was already a tough situation. And beyond that, it was just given too many opportunities. So they'll have to change that if they want to win. And Dupree covers his teammate underneath as they go for this boost, and he makes it a double.
Ooh, even a third. Dupree tearing him up. He's got the flames in front of him. Nafly through the wall, trades back 2v4 to the favor of Astralis. Device challenged over onto the B site. Stewie's gonna get the best of him, and Nafly's picked up that bomb. He can use tunnels to get into the site, but Stewie's gonna have to lock it down on his own until that bomb carrier gets here. He crosses over the door. Flashbang goes high. Glaive gets near. And a frag over the shoulder too leaves Stew in a difficult position.
Trying to protect himself from window, and has to take a duel with low HP already. The damage has been dealt.
Nafly's gonna have to clutch this now. Sees the player in the window. He is blinded, only gets the 1 kill, and that's Astralis doubling up, 2 to their name already.
Yeah, a small consolation prize there as that last kill comes through. But Astralis looks strong. I mean, they defended on mid in particular, which was the big thing. Obviously, Dupree getting 3 kills by himself was such a big deal. Here we have that. Obviously, he's there standing watching the top of Cat, and his teammate's playing anti-flash. If he doesn't have his back, he's just going to get melted, or his teammate gets melted, and he has a shoot falling down. So things could have gone wrong at any turn there, and Dupree stayed composed. Into round 6 now, there's not a buy here for Liquid. So even though they racked up all of that money, it got funneled into 2 very strong buys, and now they're back at bargain basics. It's a very good situation for Astralis to go ahead and grab the tie-up. A bunch of the T's postured up outside of long, and it seems like they're trying to conjure up a strategy to go ahead and take this, but Device will be their first enemy.
Smoke set. This is presumably going to be that closer wall of smokes. Should successfully section off Device. It's going to leave Glaive on his own. He'll fall closer towards the pit, but luckily with the incendiary, you're going to burn off that potential for a push.
And here's that utility advantage that they just keep pressing. There's not a way for them to re-exec after this. They had to, in fact, hope that Astralis did not have all of their attention on this part of the map. So now they've got to reorganize with very low utility.
They've shuffled
Astralis.
Everybody into the tunnels. We're talking 4 Deagles, 1 Scout, and a single flashbang on Nitro to try and get his team out onto this B-bomb site, and Magisk is ready for them. Scoped up, got the totem pole in the back of it, lots of bodies about to line up, and he's just gonna throw that frag grenade deep, substantial damage, but it's Dupree with 4, Magisk 1 and an assist. A solid B-site defense between the 2.
Absolutely stalwart, fantastic stuff. I mean, there was no danger for them whatsoever. They even had to come out the other end of a smoke when they didn't want to. Every turn they went to, it was clear Astralis had a good beat and good read on exactly what was coming their way. Ball control shut down immediately. That tunnels push was basically a joke to them. So fantastic stuff. And a clean anti-eco their way. Important to point that out as well. You know, they can win back the economy, and that is obviously the beauty of the game. Nitro here just spotting for a lower B push, and if he's not careful, Device will take his shoulder off. But it seems like he's safe at the moment. 2 players again postured up at mid to try to fight these T's, and it's not clear that the T's are fully well aware of this.
Wary of the potential for a cat push, but that is not a piece of the setup for Astralis. Magisk now will start to move forward. Device blinded. so is his support. So that confirms it. Team Liquid now aware that Astralis had 2 players near closed mid doors.
You have got to love how hard Liquid are fighting for mid without taking too many risks. And they've also here got Magis because of this information, knowing that cat control is coming up, and then Device chimes in with the frag. It was a big point of contention. His op at mid and only getting damage in, but not the kills. And there it is, 2-piece.
That's what we were just talking about, you know, challenging that mid control, not taking too many risks, but eventually Device is going to connect those shots. Prime example of it. Flashbang does get the player to drop down from Cat. Gets tagged in the engagement. Nafly will win his duel elsewhere on Long.
This is great. For Liquid, I mean, they're still down a man, but having Long open up is huge. There's no secret now. Astralis don't have that extra support here. He can think that someone's going to re-aggress, but what they really want to do is just wait for the CTs to reshuffle, then take a guess at what the new setup will be, knowing that Long is lost, and then try to flush the CTs out of those positions. But will they be wary of Cat? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the peek up comes. Down goes Magis. They've just gone all in on Long instead. You can see the defenders so concerned with Catwalk, but Glave's in the bomb site. He's got 2, spots the 3rd, and Naf tagged to 6. He is doomed at the moment because Dupree's coming in from behind. 6 seconds left, and that's all they need to shut it down. Great call from Liquid there to come in from a completely different position. You saw how shocked the car player was when he popped his head up. And yet still, it wasn't enough. Astralis, they're going to take back that lead.
The previous team for Glaive, but he's still heroic. That was a really nice 2-piece, and if he had not come through with that spray, bomb plant would have gone down. Whole different round. So Astralis take that slight lead, and it was well earned. I mean, they had to fight through a lot of good economy and a very confident Liquid. Pistols aplenty, a couple of grenades apiece. Stewie back up in the tunnels, and again, every single round counts so much. All of the little bits of damage that you can do, they amount to a kill. Work as hard as you can for them. Eco once famously said, if you don't have a plan for an eco, you might as well skip it.
Here comes the flashbang from Twists. What's the peak going to reap? Well, not much. Specs has the cover, frag grenade goes. Device's shot not gonna hit its target. They just want that bomb plant, and unfortunately it's not gonna happen. Everybody's out in no man's land. Nitro, double deagle. Okay, get some footing, closer they'll go, but it's still shut down. And sure enough, after the 3-0 start, Astralis respond with 5. They are officially on fire.
The much harder 5-0 to get, obviously, you know, with Liquid getting that 5-0 would have been a combination of pistols, anti-ecos, and maybe a gun rounds. In this situation, Astralis had to bite through 2 hard-earned ecos as well, and there were kind of half buys in between. So a really nice comeback into the map. And again, this is Liquid's map choice to echo Maniac sentiment. You must win your map pick versus Astralis. This goes to Inferno. You could say that this is probably over. Yeah, Astralis are the best team in the world, Inferno, and yeah, Liquid are probably number 2 by a pretty big margin, apart from that one flub at the major versus Ents in the semifinal that we don't talk about. But they are so much farther ahead than even Liquid on the map, and that's the real issue. And we saw that displayed when Astralis really gave it to Ents in the actual final. Once again, Dupree getting frisky at mid, and Magis here in the exact same position, tethering off of his information.
Flashbang almost cost Magis. Little back, Molotov's gonna push the feet forward. 3 T's spotted. Deep frag grenade. Ooh, gets the bomb carrier. See ya later, Nitro. Glaive down. Elige trades, twists by his side, works upwards. And Zipex, well, he's just going to try to tuck tail out of here, and he can't escape, nor will Dupree. It's only Device. 1 versus 3 situation, and he's gotten the first kill already.
If the Molotovs are calculated, the smokes are down, the flashes come out at all the right times, and then you give that team respect because they're so good at it, you'll get nowhere. You'll play their game and you lose.
Flashbang that's meant to draw their attention towards Catwalk, when in reality, Device on Long. They're nearly lined up, and he tippity taps away at the head, but can't hit the mark. That's an Octa challenge back. Stewie 2K's got him. And after 5 unanswered rounds, it's Liquid with a 4th.
Thought was great, right? All you need to do is bait 1 person into peeking, bait 1 person into standing on a side of a box to defend against the wrong choke point, and then all of a sudden it's a 1v1. It's completely up in the air. And so great that you highlighted that. Obviously, if you had gotten that shot off, or if that player was a little bit lower, then we maybe could have had a 1v2 comeback. But instead, Liquid take it with their unrelenting aggression up Cat. Very smart of them, and to kind of bring it back to the point before, I think what was a highlight about that round was not falling victim to too much respect when it came to that Molotov that came down in front of Cat. They decided to run through it. They knew there was a timing there for them to abuse it. We saw Astralis do something similar as well.
Naf flies down into the CT spawn, gets that opening kill. Lee's just going to try to challenge the door, but Free's ready to peek, and in doing so, catches Naf on the back line. It's the players close to begin to trade. Match is only good for one, so they've successfully split into B and look to tie things up at 5. Device and Glaive is nowhere to be found. I speak too soon. Glaive, in fact, just goes stampeding into the tunnels, where Nitro lies in wait.
Yeah, they remained one step ahead in that round, kept the tempo high, and in general have always been moving at this like 70% pace. So it's not completely unlikely that they do something as quickly. And it's also tenuous for Astralis, who might be worried about that almost every single round. So it's really good that that Liquid are doing these change-ups, but they are kind of hard to predict in some sense, and we know that they have messed around at mid a little bit, tried to play with Dupree, tried to get a kill kind of safely on their side of the door, and this time they took the fight outside of it. It ended up going well, and once they get in the door at B, you might as well be able to close them, because it's so hard for the CTs to get back in, and Liquid showed us why. Device retains the op at the very least. We move into round 10, and it's very unclear who's going to come out ahead in this half now. Nitro is going to pick up his op, Alige with the SIG.
For the record, when they played Dust 2 at iBuyMauer, and we had Liquid victorious, it was a 9-6 T-side to begin the map. They've already given up the 5 to Astralis in a spree of rounds. So, back in control looks good for them.
Yeah, and again, you know, you compound that with the game tape, all of the Dust 2s that's been played, how much more confident they feel now, reviewing their own games as well. Device is gonna have to do something creative, looks for a boost, and he has been so pinpoint and precise with that up. I'm not surprised he went in for that peak. I'm almost surprised that he missed the shot, but it wasn't an easy one to hit. So Alige can wipe the sweat from his brow, and Liquid can continue on with his default. They've got some information now. You can't have a 2-man Cat set up in 3 people long, right? So that opens up this part of the map, and the 4-1 is on.
Nice damage. Device just gets dinked through the door. Stewie's caught with a grenade in hand, though. Good clamp down from Glaive. Just does not let him escape at all. All the while, Team Liquid, they're gonna shift into 6th gear, charge down long A, leaving a player back towards Pit, and Nitro with that op. Bomb in position. They could boost a player over top of the smoke if the Molotov wasn't there. You saw them going for it. They're gonna go for the double head boost. Magisk has an angle, but Twists just takes his head clean off. Now Glaive's gonna try a second time. They keep fumbling the boost, however. Still, it works, but it doesn't prevent the bomb plant. Now, Twists comes back from that plant and gets an immediate kill, following on to Zipex, leaving just Dupree, bested by Napfly. Liquid, 6-5.
Yeah, they absolutely take that one home, and it was a half force, and they were obviously tempted by the fact that Device had retained the op from the previous round. That absolutely influenced them in their buying decisions moving into that previous one. But now they just don't have much to work with at all. They can go ahead and buy crummy guns if they'd like, but they're they're crummy rifles. That is, they're probably better off just upgrading their pistols and thinking about the fact they've got a couple more rounds in this half. Op shot rings out at mid. Nitro goes wide and doesn't get the damage in through the door. But they've got tabs on every other choke point. As you can see, Stewie watching into B and Naf making sure they can't push long. It looked like Astralis' strat this round is chaos. Push everything, peek everything, and see if we can get kills.
Playing the solo B entry, multiple rounds, but oh my god, Magisk just drive-bys with the P250. Naf, in the meantime, is opening up that route from Catwalk onto A, which is currently undefended. Only Zipex beneath them in CT spawn, and you'd think he's done for with Naf so close.
Let's choose a simple map, but they're just tapping into this. Pull him over to the left side of the door. Hold him on the left side of the door. Then take Cat. Easy play. That leaves Device isolated. You know, the goal is sometimes to try to avoid Device completely, but that can be too difficult. The rotation's not that hard for the CT. You can be very mobile. It's incredibly hard to get that information for free, but instead, if you know where he is, then just deal with him where he is too. I mean, you can, if you think that he's going to be stacking at long with 2 of his teammates, I mean, try to get him alone, and then once he's isolated, force him in a position to like be very static, take the shots you know he's going to take, and then punish him for that. And that's something that we've seen Liquid not do quite that well, although they've tried it. But there is still the potential for them to do it correctly. They have gotten it into a situation where Device is at car and he takes his op shots, but Device was able to win that round. If they get cat control again, they throw some better flashes. I'm not sure how aware they were their flashes weren't good, but I mean, maybe if they're watching the kill feed, they have the same idea.
True.
A couple of better flashes to help them chain across. I mean, Stewie played on MIBR. They had one of the best flash exec strats for cat to get them across that opper that I've ever seen. And I'm sure they can employ that now.
Well, they've gotten themselves into the catwalk quickly. Liege left alone on long. Everybody else coming up cat. Now that long player is done for. So it's an all-in barrage, an assault from the catwalk. Glaive, good job dealing with Nitro, the only player who is on a different playing field.
Taking it slowly again, Connor.
Yep, right into the Molotov. It's going to actually do pretty substantial damage, like 20 health off both Mapfly and Stu.
It's actually a great smoke.
It'll enable the plant and the fallback towards catwalk, at least for that one player. There's still two kind of stuck here in limbo.
Looks like Glaive's going to be a key piece here. He can make a move at any moment.
Starts it by blocking off catwalk. He's got two teammates coming in from this direction. They line up almost for twists. He's got a lot to do. This is a big pressure for him. He has to stay up at the end of it. Match is close, tries to duel. Glaive successful in clearing two, and they've done it. It's Glaive off of the ramp to finally activate and just mows everybody down.
In a completely precarious spot. He had just thrown a smoke to assist his teammates. Basically the most selfless thing he could have done in that situation. He knows he's at risk of showing them the trajectory of the nade, alarming them to his position, and then not having anywhere to hide. And yet he throws that nade. His teammates are able to at least trade out twist, and then he goes ahead and bites off the heads of Stewie and Naf by himself, getting onto the site. Fantastic stuff for him. Stewie even gets the kill on Device, out-ops Device at long, and they managed to lose that one. So a really hard-fought round from Astralis, and pretty fantastic stuff. We've got a small mouse issue. I'm sure we can hot swap that and get going. But there it was. We saw Liquid go for another cat play. This time it was interesting, though. Astralis started out the round with Device with full attention on long as the opper. And then she had two teammates on rifle supporting from car and from ramp. And it was actually those two teammates that did most of the work. I mean, Device got the opening kill, which was very important, but obviously in that later round, it came down to the rifles. I think once that op shot went off, it was almost a positive and a negative thing simultaneously. I love that we could hear that, by the way. It was almost a positive thing and negative thing simultaneously because they knew that, first of all, they'd have like a few seconds to like run across the elbow if they can, and then they also knew, but then the negative part is obviously that Device gets a kill at long, so now they're down a man, and that almost worked out really well for them. 2 rounds left in the half. They still could try cat again.
Yep.
Seems like they love doing it, and it's something that they're good at. If this was Astralis, they would have run a pretty similar half, in my opinion, except they would have probably thrown in a couple of B rushes. And Liquid did try that.
Yes.
But then they turned tail after they got smoked out and called out by Astralis. So
I was wondering to myself. I mean, we've seen an all-out B rush once. We've seen Stewie a couple of times. I think the most common B player, if anything, out of Liquid has been Stewie kind of like solo playing it, just trying to draw those mid players into the rotate. And I was thinking back to myself, you know, Astralis is having at times these beautiful B stacks where they just go all in, 3 players straight out the gate into the B bomb site, hold their own, and just camp there. Right? It was an effective maneuver versus Ents, and I was wondering whether that would, you know, be used to condition the counter-terrorists into that B bomb site. Yeah. Whether it's just Stewie alone, you know, he's been very happy to take that 1v1 duel to the man in the back of the site, and we saw it almost work out that one time where just Stewie draws 3 players inwards, and they did sit there. You know, it wasn't their initial plan right away, but in a mid-round situation, they got Astralis to, you know, corral themselves into exactly what Liquid want.
Corral's definitely the key word for sure. I mean, if they can get that effect again, I mean, it's not often any team can do that to Astralis, right? Right. To outplay them, to deny them information, to create fog of war, to influence their rotations. They're the team that does that to you. So that was a big thing, and that all stemmed from abusing mid, which is something you definitely like to see more from Liquid. Hard to criticize the half so far. They're in the lead. They've had a lot of good rounds, but they do need to be worried. Astralis are right up their alley at the moment, and keeping up, even though Liquid won the pistol. So Legion's here to go ahead and test mid one more time. We've seen how he likes to just, you know, throw this Molotov just in case. We've also seen how Liquid have very constantly thrown done double stacks or used Dupree and a man to help them from the back lines to fight at these doors and make sure that the round can begin and end there.
Yeah.
But today it looks like it's quite empty. There's also smoke to guys whether or not there's going to be a re-aggression. And so Liquid are left scratching their heads at the moment and seem to be turning their attention and talents away towards Cat.
Which won't be contested up close. It's just Zibex towards Goose. Nice frag grenade. That almost takes Elige down to half. Coming to a bit of a standstill towards mid. No threat here either. Just very kernel defense from Astralis. Dupree and Magisk once more sitting inside of B. Pretty long presence.
The only outside option they've got is a late long push. They might use it. That would be big for Astralis, but right now, Liquid could kind of get away with a B hit. Make it very difficult for the two players in the site.
Attention closer towards doors. It's Dupree behind the car, tries to catch cover, but he's not going to find it. Elige, double entry. The remaining counter-terrorist so far gone. Glaive, he's running through T-spawn, just spotted Stewie at the bottom of mid, so he doubles back. Bombs down so quickly, though. They're calling the save already.
Yeah.
Astralis want nothing to do with this. Excellently done by Liquid, trading their way into the B site. You got to tip your hat to Elige.
They really slowed it down as well, and that was one of the latest execs that we've seen, but we knew that they were working on something the entire time. Astralis did throw smoke in their face again at almost every choke point they went to initially, but with that information, I mean, they actually figured out that Astralis did want to hold on to long, and that meant they were probably, they at least had two obviously dedicated, but it wasn't going to be probably like a 3-2 gamble stack towards B, and Elige had cleared out mid completely in the beginning. They knew that Astralis hadn't gone through the process of making sure that none of the Ts were going to fight around mid or that they could lurk out mid at all. So what do Liquid do? Like, in a sense, they don't have full map control, full map presence, and aren't omniscient, right? But with the information they had, they could have been pretty sure that B was going to be the weaker side of the map off of what they learned. So they went off that, and they went off their instinct probably, and it ended up being the correct call. And now we move into the last round of the half. Liquid have a small lead, but still a lead nonetheless.
Stewie hoping for the duel, sees nothing. Quick cat play once more. Elige smoking himself and just stampeding towards it.
Oh, this is pretty big, but is the Molotov going to come flying at Elige? Is that why he started walking?
They've had to deal with that before. Like the moment they arrive, Astralis read into the timing, chuck those frag grenades forward. I mean, we know Astralis' utility is game-changing.
Yeah, Glaive has taken the relay. You know, he's up in the doors. The second doors at long, cat play might fall flat on its face if they can't make progress fast enough. One of the big problems with this cat exec was Device slowing them down, watching them crouch across. If Glaive is here and he's confident no one's coming, he's just going to shoot him in the back of the head.
Minute difference being, instead of Device being over towards car side, he's actually on the ramp, but he's floating back and forth, and just as I say that, he does reposition. It's easier from the left side to kind of, you know, fall back and change angles 3 to 4 times, giving yourself as many opportunities as possible to rattle off the op. 45 seconds up, smokes plume towards Cat. Zipex inside of the smoke, sprays down 2, and with the USP could go one further.
Glaive's activated.
Yep, he's gone straight for the flank, fires off a bullet. Now that's going to tell the Ts that sure enough someone's at the top of mid. Nafly's still more concerned with any B players than his actual flank. And Stewie and Twists are waiting for smokes to fade before they can finally push out onto the A site. Device back towards car, flashed for a slight second, now has regained vision, and he's got himself the duel. Down goes Stewie 2K. Twists and Naf, final attempt to push up Cat. Zipex looks to lock it down, but it's Device with the final blow here on the CT side. We are as close as can be, folks. 2 of the last 3 rounds going the way of Astralis. 8-7 in the end.
The absolute tightest half possible, and there's no other way to look at it. There was no lucky rounds that went either team's way. It was extremely hard fought from beginning to end, and it was honestly a solid T side from Liquid. It's just Astralis are obviously going to keep up. They're going to be on their ass the entire game, this entire series, no matter what. It's not going to get easier, and they have to stomach the fact that they're probably going to lose Inferno no matter what. So they take this map, fine. They move on, and they'll have to think about a third, but they're only in a small lead at the moment, and the Astralis have already got a win over them in this tournament already on Dust 2. Long control here for Astralis. 4 players pour out, and Twist is kind of traded and taking the liberty of peeking up around Cat. from here, this is fine. You know, the 2 players on Cat, they can escort the rotation from mid. We've got a mid player who's being very PCAPy as well. It's only the B player who won't move very much, but overall, they're in a pretty good position to retake.
Double smoke down safely for the cross. We've got 4 terrorists from Astralis here between car, ramp, and the bomb site. Intro down below. Remember, Magus, keep your eyes on the radar, still towards the top of mid. So there's going to be a lot of gunfights unfolding, but the big question will be, when does he come into the equation? Does he go for the cat flank and try to play big, or just get into pit when needed? Well, here's your answer. Hits the catwalk, but can't hit the shot immediately. Will still catch Stewie, that B player, but the retake's already on. Team Liquid charging inwards, being cut down one after another until nobody's left standing for Liquid. 8 rounds to each team immediately after second pistol.
Let's have it, man. If it's gonna be a victory, it better be hard fought. That was a really nice split between both Magisk and Device to share those kills. Good, clean Glock kills, and that is obviously the risk that you know, if you do give up long, that this can happen. Device's P250 pacing was, I think, my favorite part. Just how slow he tapped to make sure he was fully reset every time. See the frustration on Stewie's face after that round's lost. And it's going to be a buy-up, exactly like Astralis. 2 scouts here on the second round, but Zipic starts it off with a very strong opening kill with that UMP.
Excellent cover given to his teammate, who is fully blind and out first. The other players from Liquid that were nearby have immediately tucked tail and fallen back into the A site. They welcome the challenge from Astralis so that they can make the most of these scouts. Nafly, as you just saw, tagged up as he tried to peek and pry towards pit.
Yeah, getting creative in this situation is difficult. I mean, you can try to rearrange yourself, but what do you possibly do to catch the other team off guard?
Deagle close. There's a bit of a... Straight from downtown, Alish still away. A third one, and who else can deliver? That's the big question, because it's a 2v2 even keel. Scout up from Stewie, smoke's fading now. Zipex, oh man, he's saving the day. A 4K already, and a potential ace with just twists left up. Bomb comes back. Alish, beautiful sidearm work.
Can't think of a better player to come in for the clutch, but not half surprised that Zipex quelled all of their fears with that 4K.
Again, I think that's a prime example as to the multiple definitions of a clutch player. You have players who work in 1vx situations, Zipex is one, but that was a clutch moment as well, because obviously so much heat is getting cranked up onto you. You can imagine what the comms are like in the moment. Oh, but it's not done, Mohan. It's not done. It's Twists versus Glaive in the 1v1, and he's got the scout at a distance, working his way forward, pummeling the box, but no kit, remember that. Deagle's out. He wants that crisp head shot, and he's not going to get the chance. Glaive prevails, and Astralis will keep their lead.
Oh my God, they're so terrified. They must have been. I mean, look at the Deagle shots in this round. All 4 kills that went Liquid's way, and that one from downtown, absolute banger of a shot to couple with that 3rd kill as well. And yeah, again, Zipic saves the day, you know, being very patient, composed. Probably doesn't even enable the kill feed when he plays, right? Just focuses on his screen and make sure that he does his part, and that's all that was necessary for them to make sure they closed out the round. Obviously, Glaive coming in the 1v1 was imperative as well, because Twist Deagle didn't look like a sleeper either. But yeah, that's at least good damage for Liquid, but a nice recovery from Astral. It's a very close moment there for both teams, and it's all pistols. For Team Liquid, I think Twist was the only one here to have upgraded at all. It's a full-on B stack at the moment, and Astralis have decided to stroll out to long, as they like to do, and as you should on anti-ecos.
Yeah, also be a leisurely Sunday for Astralis. They're gonna play it super patient. I don't blame them.
No, patience is a virtue.
Yeah. I think, I mean, one of the prime examples of that would have been the all-in 1 versus 4 yesterday versus MIBR, right?
It was so funny because Anders was talking about, oh, there are certain rounds where if you just took your mouse and your hands off your keyboards, you would just win 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And that was the Alu 1v4 for like every single one of those players.
I think that's one of those moments where like you swap out MIBR, you throw in Astralis, like even if they know that a 1v4, you know, clamp down.
Or you swap out MIBR and you don't put anyone in their seats.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Like you said, you just didn't need to move. But alas, we've got a bomb planted with 10 players alive.
Yeah, whatever damage they can get. Not often you see this full sip. Okay, all right. You know what? It's an absolute barrage. Silent USP shots just coming straight over the ledge, the lip of the ledge.
Horrifying sound when all of a sudden 4 pistols start tearing through you. But it's a Hail Mary attempt. As they stampede towards the site, everybody just dies near instantaneously.
There probably was an option at a certain point there where they wait for exits, they pick the choke points, and then they hold from there. But if Astralis is saved towards long and they get in pit and they're in long doors, is really not a play for them to have.
Right.
So the other thing they can do is come out before the bomb obviously explodes and then try to drag them back to get blown up by it. Maybe that's what they were going for. They at least got a kill off the back of it. But they also could have recovered a gun, I think, as one wasn't saved, the one that got killed on Cat. Maybe worthwhile to have stuck with that, but it doesn't seem like anyone picked that up. So I'm not exactly sure what the course of action was there. Astralis here, starting off high tempo.
Into the guns, though.
Into the guns, double digits. Long control smoke to bait out any reaction that they can. You know, you've always got the ability to throw kind of like 1 or 2 free curveballs around a half where you don't actually do anything, but you just throw a piece of utility that you know is going to alarm your opponent. And in this circumstance, it's this trade for the smoke for the molly. Enemy smoke comes out right now, and you've got to put yourself in Liquid's shoes. Like, what are they thinking? They've seen presence at long, they've seen a mid-B smoke. Why are they trying to bait out utility at these specific spots? Who is it that they're trying to weaken? And how much did we bite on that?
Non-existent mid control and a very stagnant long setup. I don't think Twist has moved yet this round. We're in counter flash next to blue box. Everybody's just going to hold their own.
They go wide. Contrast that with Astralis' setup. They've got no one at car. They don't have an opper here. Not to say Elige isn't very apt with the AUG, but the 2 players at long don't have any opponents. That means that Elige has to frag out, and they're going to be very slow to rotate to help him. And they're going to be extremely hopeful that at least somebody comes to long before they move, which really weakens the setup.
Additional smokes go down. One towards the cross, one towards spawn. That enables the terrorists to come in from 2 different levels. But what does that truly mean? Because Elige, he's immediately found himself a kill. In fact, it's 5 AUG frags in rapid succession. Team Liquid, I mean, they welcome Astralis in and slam the door straight.
They had their own smoke to try to get up more quickly. And either that or they abused the smoke that was thrown at long corner. And
yeah,
it was wide on the side, though. It was wide on the corner. And so they had vision on both sides for both of those players at long. And they also came over quite quickly, maybe because they counted nades. There's, you know, obviously if it's a smoke Molotov, they know that it has to be a person there. So if they counted 3, they were like, screw it, let's pull. And they were correct about it. So no, never mind. I thought they would have a lot of trouble with that setup. And obviously, Elige does his due diligence as well, like almost 190 damage without dying in those first few seconds of the exec. And suddenly, the ball is back in Liquid's court.
Elige catches Dupree out mid. He's the only player not coming in off catwalk, where Device has just traded off of the Deagle. Elige knows he's going to get pinched if he sticks around, so he'll get back into the cover. You know, worst case scenario, you give up the bomb plant.
Oh, interesting. They're delaying any potential for a plant without actually moving in for a retake or getting prepared to do so. I mean, maybe just to shift them out, or just to absolutely obliterate, just decimate a bomb planter if there was one nearby.
I don't remember
it with the HE.
I don't remember the last time I saw Astralis leave a bomb behind.
Yeah, no, definitely a rare sight for sure. So at this point, Liquid are just like, are they debating us? Is there going to be a B play at hand, or will they continue on with this strat? And it seems like the latter was true.
Work their way back towards catwalk yet again. All of a sudden, we've got a cohort of CTs running out from spawn. Not to mention Long still deep in their pocket. Zipex 1v4 with a Deagle gets nothing for his efforts, and that's Team Liquid to tie things up at 10 rounds apiece.
everything you do in this game has to be 100% deliberate. If they're going to decide that they're going to go for a retake, there can't be a single player overextending. It's almost a conversation that has no place in a match like this, but you know, it is one of the reasons that you're going to look at a team like this and look at a tier 2 team and say, like, this is one of the main differences. Even though the changes are small, even though it's only an extra 5 to 10%, those are one of the big ones. If you're really going to trust in the retake, you know how much utility you need to save for that moment. You also know nobody's going to overextend. You know where your entry points are for all of your players. They had all of their ducks in a row in that situation, and it wasn't hard. And honestly, you put Astralis in that situation with a bomb plant, high ground control, and that many players alive, they're going to beat most teams, straight up. Even if they only have pistols.
Flash high for Nitro. There's already terrorists out. So he's just going to forfeit any control of long A. Allow Astralis to swarm it. They'll have to go back for bomb again. And this time, it's because they're heading towards the B site, where Stewie 2K plays solo, but a 3-man setup from Liquid on Catwalk.
We've seen this exact same thing from Astralis versus ENCE, where they had a lead off on the play towards B. This time they're a little bit late. They still got that escort. They're going to get a bunch of players in the site. Last time they went lower on this strat, if you remember. And oh, was that? That might have been ENCE that did that to them. We'll soon find out. Yeah, Glaive making his way downtown.
But you're right. They do go lower tunnels.
Yeah, and then with this cat setup, as soon as that smoke dissipates, they have the opportunity to see ahead. But it seems like Alige is very careful, very aware of the thought that they might be in lower. And we don't know who's going to get the better of this engagement, but you can see this is exactly where it's going to end up soon.
Man, this is a hell of a standoff.
Yeah,
We've got,
and they don't even know it, right?
1 player each team dedicated to the sites, and 3 players each team set up for mid. But Alige is sectioned off because of the Molotov. All of his opponents actually work their way through door, and this is a B split out of nowhere. Stewie's just blindsided by the fact that Glaive is so close.
Oh, they had no idea. Why would Stewie have run out of the window? There's no way he did that without bad information. Alige was up there on Cat. He saw the nades coming his way. I mean, there's no way Stewie thought that anybody was out mid. But if you're looking at Alige's screen, you're like, there's a high probability that they can get out mid. Right?
That's a prime example of a round whereby it seems like it's obvious because we have the information.
Yeah.
But then very clearly, whatever's going on in the Liquid camp is, well, unaware.
Yeah, no.
Costly one as well. This was a very big round.
There was a gap there, and there was also Astralis only threw 1 Molotov up Cat, so it might not have looked like a full exec. And, you know, in a LAN setting, it is a little bit more difficult to discern footsteps. Potentially, a couple got past them while somebody was talking. Who knows? But obviously, you don't run out the window like that if you think there's going to be T's on the other side.
A blunder.
But no matter what, even if Stewie stayed in the site,
yeah, what are his odds?
What's he going to do? You know, they're that close. He fights out the window. We saw Dupree try the exact same thing. I mean, it's at that point where you technically already lost, and you know, we have some of Counter-Strike's best moments happen under those circumstances where huge individual plays are made. But more likely than not, you know, he dies. Like many of the heroes we probably never heard about.
Yep. Transition back towards heavy B, back through the bottom of tunnels. There is no mirrored 3-man setup on Catwalk like it was in the previous round, but there are still 4 players closer towards A, so young Stu finds himself with a lot of pressure yet again. Molotov closer Cubby. Nobody in this position. It is Nitro towards CT spawn. Utility of the zone. He's going to extinguish the flames. Flashes high, just looks to disrupt this setup, maybe try to puff his chest and seem, you know, stronger than a Soul Defender. But not wanting to stick around in the off chance they burst outwards, Nitro will assume a position closer towards the scaffolding and now even inside that B site.
This long control smoke for Astralis has acted like when you break open the windows outside of B and Sunroom on Cash. And they've been doing it many of these rounds. It's not going to tell Liquid much, but it might count for something. And for Astralis, Naf getting this opening kill could throw a spanner in the works. So player of Blue Barrels as well is going to go unchecked. However, Twist is not good for 1.
And then the frag grenade's fantastic. Magus just blows Alige to smithereens. And Astralis, they're out as fast as they were in. Gone.
An absolutely must-kill situation. And all the while, they're making the long marathon rotate back to be at full speed. There's no way Liquid are going to even think about this for a second. In fact, Dupree is going to bring this home completely. And if he gets a kill, even if he gets a kill.
Stu's watching. Stu's back towards doors. He just needs to section off the bomb. Stewie, he peeks inwards, misses the initial shot, tries to Molotov the cross. 4 seconds. I don't think they're... Oh, it's going to come down to the wire. So close. He's got it. Just in the last second, Magis gets bomb activated, but the CTs have already started to wrap around this retake. We've got Nitro inside tunnels. Nafly back towards spawn, has to get a move on and find himself closer to Stewie. But B-site retakes are hard. They're harder with double op setups, and that's got to be a tantalizing idea of a save. So they're just going to wait. Bomb's more than halfway gone.
Can't even give it a shot.
Not even going to play for it. If only Stewie.
Everything frozen at the moment except for the bomb ticking, and the op shot goes off, so a free kill is had, and they've got them locked into B. That's 1 kill. Could be the best case scenario apart from actually winning the round here, but Device actually smart enough to not go far, very aware of his bomb radius and how much health he had left over, was able to go ahead and keep the op in his hands. That's a big thing to keep. What were you going to say?
I can't remember.
That's okay. I'm sure it'll come back to you.
Just Stewie, you know, Stewie, I get flashbacks to E-League Boston where we had Stewie, you know, in a high-octane situation,
right.
4 seconds left, just stop the bomb.
Yeah.
And this time they still had enough utility to make it happen.
No, for sure. He was forced into, you know, taking a wide flick. It was cool that he was so aware at that moment. Could have been a big find like this was.
Speak of the devil, down he goes. Good flashbang though from Nitro, but Magis punishes him.
Wow, dude. God. He's just unfazed at all times.
The cover is so real.
Yeah, no doubt. And just like that, we've got a repeat. Inside a B, but this time with so much more time remaining. So again, just to like dissect that round a little bit more, you know.
You're talking the late rotation?
Yeah, the late rotation.
Go on.
The fact that Dupree comes out long just as like almost icing on the cake, but ends up dying. So there's like, you know, a small moment there where it gets a little weird. But as soon as they see Dupree, it adds 10 to 15 seconds to their psychological clock. Okay, long is still a threat. Okay, they could still be waiting there at pit. Oh, they could have been using a Dupree as a bait. But because they were so decisive and deliberate, the fact that they moved all the way around back to be as fast as they did, I mean, internally, there's no way Liquid are predicting that that is possible at all. No one leaves long that quickly and makes that big of a rotation. And honestly, if they had if they had taken any longer, Stewie could have gone back in the door because he was scared.
Right.
So it was actually fantastic, you know, how deliberate Astralis were in that moment.
What's wild as well is, I mean, just to really highlight your point, there was 2 seconds that Stewie took on his crossback from CT where he stopped at door and watched T spawn waiting for the cross.
Right.
But the cross had already gone.
There you go.
So then when he works towards door, like you just said, like as opposed to playing outside of the door and trying to use the Molotov to block off the bomb carrier, very well could have been in the back of the bomb site, hiding behind some boxes, ready to just get that one single kill.
And so basically he had no info. He just went on a total hunch. And so
but that's what we
really
always praise Astralis for, right? Is the decisiveness.
Yeah.
The lack of indecision just means that they always seem to be on the same page, and they're flipping through pages like maniacs.
And here we are, Connor, in the final rounds of the first map. But it's not Liquid with a lead. I mean, even if they did have a lead, I'd be talking about how Astralis always have a chance. This is round 24, and Astralis are up 3 rounds, and Liquid have only won 2 in this entire half. So that's a strong stat line to try to fight back against. They've got a ton to prove, but they're the ones who took Astralis here, okay? So they've got to be able to take this home. And Nitro will make a good case for his team. A couple of kills actually go off simultaneously.
Double backs from his kill on long, gets towards catwalk, and doesn't even need to fire his gun because Nafly's got him covered. That's that double op setup coming out of Liquid here in the 24th round. We saw 2 op kills from each of the snipers already in this, so most certainly playing a part in culling the numbers. What's left for Astralis to try and do?
This would be one incredible mid-round, to put it lightly. Device can work out mid. Oh, he's got a couple angles to work with, and a very small chance there to catch a lead where he did. But now it's a 2v3. Nitro's low. And again, they're kind of breaking out of their shell here, forcing their way into very difficult fights, but important ones if they're available. Issue, though, is they can't go farther without a smoke, or at least the left or right side. 45 seconds up.
The real challenge is going to be getting past Nafly. If they kill Nafly, Twist is so far deep on long that he won't be able to stop them. So this is technically, you know, for the moment, a 2 versus 1 v Nafly, and they're going to throw a bit of a gimmick, but it could very well work. The fly across, gets the shot off, and he misses his target.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we do have Twist doubling back. Stewie quickly in from CT spawn. 20 seconds and Molotovs to try and deny plants, but down goes Naf. Device gets the best of him in the op duel, and this enables the bomb plant. We're talking 2v5, Mohan, and we've got Glaive now working in from the back of CT spawn. Stewie 2K watches the flank. Nitro seems to know, but you're not going to be able to guard this defuse. So sure enough, Glaive, he's out.
Yeah,
he's out.
Checkmate at that moment. And yeah, a round one from Liquid, they seal it up. I mean, nobody should be that worried, right? Like, you shouldn't be that worried, but obviously Astralis were creating all kinds of options for themselves, so important to talk through each one of them. And the bomb plant is pretty big. So double op setup now. Again, as Naf is going to hold on to it, don't know if he's going to play from car with it and how Nitro's going to couple up. I think it'll probably be him at mid once again, but there could also be something spawn-based. You know, as a map that is quite kind of dry in terms of strategy, spawn-based things take precedent.
So Nitro's off towards mid last time round. This is a big deep push. Stewie's inside of the doors. Nafly's got cover, and he's got that first kill. Trying to catch another one. Stewie's gonna cut down these numbers with him. Solid two-man defense. Stewie can't get it all done on his own, though. Device back in with a 1v4 clutch attempt. Bombs down in the dirt. Smoke grenades could be creating a path for the CTs to walk out from. He has no idea, but he does have time. And a whole lot of skill. They're concerned with the potential for a wrap back towards bottom tunnels when in fact Device is still here with bomb. It's in his possession, in fact, ready for the taking. But before he goes for the plant, he's going to make sure he can clear as many angles as he can.
Hey, this is the time to scratch your nose if you need to, right? Don't worry about this. Don't push your luck. Wait to hear that tap. Throw a body at it if you'd like to. You know, you've got an extra two. Yeah, you can go for it. You know that he has pushed himself into a position. He's going to pop up one more time and pop a head off of another player. A chance to finish that clutch, but Naf is too quick.
All of them just coming in through the window, one after another. What an absurd place to plant the bomb. You saw Elige look down, had no clue once he was in the open, and then he had that split second where he thought to himself,
so smart.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because if he jumps up back onto this railing, his head pops up higher than he'd like. His inaccuracy could be bad if the railing is too low, and it was such a close moment. I mean, Device could taste that, obviously. An oy vey from Stewie. Oh, man, as he's kind of obviously a bit tilted. That's important. But if I know Stewie, he plays best.
Yeah.
The best. Down to half HP, so, you know.
And if he was annoyed, now he's pissed.
Yeah.
Just took damage through the door. He's going to swap with Nitro for that AWP.
Go ahead and just shoot it. See what happens. You know what I mean? So they weren't through the thick of it in those last two rifle rounds. With this round at 13-13, they'll also get the save off of Astralis. Naf is in a powerful spot. He doesn't have support. I mean, he could be traded, and that would not be worthwhile, you'd assume. He could be stuck right side door. Let's see if the trade comes out. A lot of damage dealt. He can be spammed at any moment, but he gets away.
He's got himself some footing. How far does he retreat? Could stick in pit, could go towards car. It looks like he's going to offer up map control here. Liquid still 2 players over towards catwalk. A forward positioning that does just enable Nafly to play as safe as can be. So he's back on site.
Oh man, this is actually as good of a position that Liquid can be in. Yeah, Naf's low, but at least he is the opera. And they also have this cat play, just ready to pull the pin. As soon as they hear enough presence, as soon as they know that it's like mid to B and not a fake up cat, 2 players in B are going to be fully ready with these 2 players here on cat.
Nitro still has his eyes towards doors at the moment. That mid to B split, potential threat, but now they know for sure they've cut it off. Stewie's got a kill, and the smoke completely counters Astralis on the push. They are gone, and they know there's nothing they can do. This round is given up. We are talking 13 rounds apiece. Liquid 5 survivors at the moment.
Yeah.
And very few rounds left to play.
No, absolutely. Money-wise, they needed it. Every single person they saved absolutely could use that bank. And as for Astralis, they're going into a save. Liquid would love to hunt at the moment, but they've got so much to lose. They can only go through and peek a couple of angles safely and not risk anything in the future. And if they believe in themselves, they should always think that as long as we have the money, then we have the power to win, and they should play off of that and not throw Hail Marys and take too many risks. Liquid may be delivering in this match. I have no idea, if they can really take it the distance. It was 13-10 to Astralis. Liquid had only won 2 rounds in a row. Then they have picked up 3 more of the last rounds, but Astralis have still got tons to work with. I think they might even be buying behind this. Yeah, actually, I guess off the back of the 2 saves, they've got another buy. So, fantastic economic management. Yeah, we've got 1 UMP on Glaive. Zipix is probably going to have enough for an AK. Dupree's only got a Deagle, so this is quite interesting. I guess it's because, again, Device has picked up that op, he's retained it, and now they're incentivized to help him and support him.
And instead of getting that second AK, Zipex actually decides to prioritize utility, so it's 2 umps, not 2 rifles, but grenades all around.
Yeah, they're going for it. That's an incredibly important decision to make this buy happen now.
3 rounds of loss bonus, of course. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay, op shot goes dry. Device pushed back off the fire. 3 CTs over at A. It's kind of a 3-1-1. Having 2 ops can bite you in the butt, especially versus rushing and hungry pistols.
Oh, they're going to go for it again. This mid-round setup between Twists and Elige. I mean, this was such a key piece in shutting down the previous round because they caught Glaive as he tried to jump into the split. But Dupree is very close.
Yeah, they've got an anti-flash setup. All over top.
Oh, but he's ready. And now the peek out from Twists. He lines up 2 players. That's Device and Dupree down. Can he get a third? No. Magis besks him. And it's even. Oh, Naf's deep grenade. Oh, the frag banks off the wall and gives Liquid an edge.
He looks like the Fonz and he can play pool. What can't this man do?
Oh, just dunks on him. And Naf ready with the scope up. Now his position's known.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot. He doesn't want to get his angle closed off. 40 seconds left. They can walk up to him. He's going to go ahead and peek. He does get the shot off before he dies, maintaining the man advantage. But it's Zipix.
It's the clutch minister. He's got the bomb on his back. He's working to the site. He's going to smoke off the 2 CTs, planting for Catwalk. Now that Molotov's going to confirm there's a player close, so he's on high guard. He's on high guard, but the flash is fantastic. It's got it done. Zipex blinded. And the utility is what makes the difference. That is Team Liquid 14-13 on their map choice. 4 rounds of loss bonus working to the favor of Astralis, but 4 rounds in a row here for the North Americans.
Clutches absolutely win games, but even the clutch minister can't clutch blind. That was so reminiscent to a match where Liquid played against Navi, coming through a smoke where Zeus was able to get 4-piece in a situation just like this where they were meant to win. The stakes were just as high. Liquid deliver this time. They've got the 2 ops once again, and Astralis, although they didn't have the best weapons in the world, put a lot into that round. They can decide to buy here, but they won't have an op on Device, and it seems like they were clairvoyant into this round. They knew exactly what they were going to have to work with. They are putting it all on the line right now. OT is on the table now in this best of 3.
That's true. That's true. No longer working through the round robin. Back into your classic competitive Counter-Strike.
This was great movement. Look how clean he is moving up on these stairs.
You know what else was glorious?
You jump too low, and then suddenly you actually get inaccuracy when you fall. You do that perfectly. You don't slow down at all. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's nice. These things I appreciate.
It's Twists in a high-pressure situation, picking up 2. It's Nafly in a higher pressure situation in the flames, finding that off shot, pushing Zipex to his lonesome. But we're right back into the action. Round 28, and they fly out long. Not going to be to their avail. That is Device burnt. And Elige lingers around the smoke as more Ts do decide to continue out. Dupree is dropped, and that's a 5v3 for Liquid, looking to secure map point.
Not just map point. Map point with all of the economy on their side.
So what do
$100 for Magis, Glaive, Zipix got $50. This clock ticks low enough, they're going to think about saving. There's 2 ways for Liquid to win this round.
But they're going to go all in on it. Zipex, the bomb carrier, is going to stay back for the time being. Magis needs to open up shot, but Stewie's only going to get himself 1. Nitro playing around the boxes. His position unbeknownst to Astralis, but they've decided to pump the brakes. and that's fine. A minute on the clock for them to work with side by side. And now they're gonna go in. Nitro's gonna get confirmation, but he's missed his first shot, nails the second, and now it's just the last man up in Magisk. A 1v4 attempt. He's gonna spray towards doors to cut down the second. 4 health is not gonna do it, and as Liquid take 15, they do it on fire. 2 map points here on Dust 2.
What could potentially be the last round of the game. Everybody on Astralis on max loss, but it's a Galil, it's a Scout, it's low nades. And for Glaive and Xyp9x, a CZ just to have the utility, and the same thing for Xyp9x. Chances have never been higher. 2 ops, every incendiary, everybody with kits, head armor aplenty. An opening kill to boot. This could be the last round of map 1.
Completely denying this long control in multiple rounds now. Team Liquid, this has been a key piece to their success. Catching that first kill, putting Astralis on the back foot, and now putting them into Catwalk, all in from Astralis. But as they arrive, they're smoked off. That's Elise just gonna burn time down.
And you can see, they want to go all in on these options. It's clear when teams posture up, if they have alternate plans, if they want to throw a fake, they're spread out more thin. Here in this situation, they're flying by the seat of their pants, and Stewie's here to take advantage of it.
He's blind, but that doesn't matter. He's got himself 3! The AUG tears through mid, and it's Liquid to tear through Astralis at the end of this second half. That is 6 rounds in a row, and they have done it, Mohan. It's gonna have to be the reverse sweep from Astralis, or Liquid could be staring a Blast Pro Series championship in the face.
It was 13-10.
Oh my.
Astralis had control of the situation. You have got to win your map pick. You know, truer words have never been said. The road is not over. That's, you know, we're all giving this next map to Astralis, and I'm not going to go back on that.
Absolutely
they are
not.
heavily favored. You know, this would be the best team to go up against them on Inferno, but still not a map they want to play. If they could ban 3 maps, this would be the third 100%.
Yep, you're not wrong at all. I mean, Inferno, Nuke, those are the givens. Dust 2, that floater. And it's a map that not only have we seen a ton of this weekend, but we've seen a ton of struggling on top of that. So it's a bit of a shocker just because Astralis seem invincible. However, it's not done yet, folks. The reverse sweep could be performed by Astralis. We'll move on to Inferno. Don't go too far.